You're not really ready until you're safe. Summer safely and drive calm.
Trying to quit smoking? You don't have to quit alone. Way to Quit is here if you need help, have questions, or just need to talk. Tips, resources, and coaches are just a phone call away. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. That's 1-800-QUIT-NOW or visit waytoquit.org.
Welcome back to A Woman's View here on KSL News Radio. My wonderful guest this week, Shauna Cheshire, is here, nurse coordinator at the Utah Fetal Center. Barbara Smith is with me, director of communications for Utah Valley University, and Luz Lewis Perez is the director of development for the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho. Now, in the state of Utah and in many places in the country, kids as young as 12 are eligible for the COVID vaccine. And I want to know how my guests feel about that. I'll just throw in first because I'm want to jump the gun. I'm excited about my kids getting the vaccine because, well, my youngest son has a lung issue, and I've always been nervous about his getting COVID. And so for him to be protected is something that will give his mama peace of mind for the first time since I learned about COVID. But I would like to know how all of you feel. Shauna, I'll start with you. How do you feel about your kids getting the vaccine? Are you yay or nay?
Definitely yay. We're excited. Our youngest is 14, and everyone else in the household is 16 and above. So everyone else has already been vaccinated for a period of time, and she is very excited to be able to get it. I think it's just a wonderful thing. And I know people have very varying opinions about this, that it's super experimental and that they don't trust it and all of that. But being in the medical community, I feel like all due diligence that can be done has been done to prove safety the best that we can. When I look at when people say, I'm not going to take it until it's fully FDA approved and not emergency use. And I think, well, I don't know what we were going to do to battle this pandemic. Like, this is an answer to our prayers. This is the answer that a lot of us have been praying for. And had we not developed it so quickly, with the help of a lot of research for years. So this didn't just come out of a hat all of a sudden. This had been worked on for, these coronaviruses had been looked at, and this technology had been being developed. It just all came together that this could be done so quickly. So I find it miraculous and choose to look at it that way rather than suspiciously with a side eye. And I'm really excited.
Barb, what about you?
So my kids are older. My youngest is now 21. However, I am thrilled that we have this vaccine. And it, I tend to like the first two better than the last one because of the effectiveness of it. However, I think it's true that the best vaccine is one going in your arm. So I am not an anti-vaxxer. That I definitely am not. Now, in the younger population, their parents are probably weighing a couple of things here in that it generally the disease COVID-19 does not generally impact children as dramatically as it does adults, especially older adults. So their risk of developing the illness and becoming very ill from it are less. However, as a parent, you also have to weigh, I think, what if your child is one of those that is badly infected and has the serious side effects? I mean, there is a multi-system inflammatory syndrome that is being seen in children who are between the ages of 2 and 14 years old, right? So that can destroy organs. It causes serious illness. It requires hospitalization. It's not like this is a small thing. So if you can get your child vaccinated, you are completely absolving that risk. So I, as a parent, would probably want to do that. The other thing that we have done, I think, which is smart as a population, is we have vaccinated thousands upon thousands of adults first. And so we have a better idea of what the possible side effects are going to be before we have taken it upon ourselves to say, okay, we're going to now see what this can do for children. So Swine flu, you all remember swine flu. The vaccination for that was not made available immediately for children either. And my son actually got that, and he was very young when that happened. And he developed sort of a neurological disorder. It did go away, thankfully, but it was really scary. He was having double vision and all kinds of things, but it had made it into part of his brain. And the very next year, it became available for children. So I was hugely relieved when that occurred because I, didn't want to go through that again. So I think it's a really personal decision for parents. I think parents will likely step up and do this. But based on the vaccine rates in general in Utah, we know that there is a certain population out there that under no circumstances vaccinates their children for anything. And they file for exemptions, and it's kind of large for the state. And so, but it's a personal decision. However, I would immediately do it.
Yeah.
I do immediately. And I know pediatricians who are seeing cases of this syndrome, and it's very scary, and they are hospitalized, and you will find them at Primary Children's.
Can I ask you, Barb, before I move on to Luce, because I've heard of some universities that are requiring vaccinations among students. Is that something UVU has talked about?
No, and I think the legislature made it really plain in their last session that won't even be legal. So we are encouraging it strongly. We actually have a vaccination clinic at UVU. We're very proud of that. It took some serious work on the part of our emergency manager to get that implemented. But you can actually right now at UVU, if you are a student, you can get vaccinated, and you can also get your immediate family vaccinated at UVU.
Oh, that's great.
So we are strongly encouraging it, but no, there will be no repercussions if they don't do it. We just hope that they will. Because as we know, looking at the statistics, it's now that population that we are seeing, as being the ones that are most likely getting COVID right now. And that's because they're not vaccinated, and they also are acting like they are. So they're taking off their mask if they were ever wearing one. That was another issue. But so that is a population also that's showing up right now in the hospitals. So we are just desperately trying to offer it to them and say, take advantage of it. It's easy. It's here. It's on campus. It's easy to make an appointment. Just come on in. Yeah. And you don't even need an appointment. If you just want to walk in, you'll get one.
Stop by. Luce, what about for you? I know, didn't you have an issue with one of your kids with COVID?
Oh, my kids all got COVID. I mean, right. I only have two. And so they did get COVID, and of course, they're not living within my home because they're college students. So to the point of UVU giving out free vaccinations, we're really appreciative on the part of my son. And then they've both been vaccinated since. It's been 6 months since they had COVID. But my dad worked in public health growing up for the health department in San Diego. So I have a very long background in public health. And of course, I work in public health for the National Kidney Foundation as a director of public education. So I am definitely pro-vaccination. My husband's I guess it would have been his little brother who died of diphtheria as an infant, because my husband is from Chile, and that vaccination was not made, possible until the mid to late 60s. And so a vaccination could have saved a brother who did not survive infancy. So talking specifically about coronavirus, I really think that, first of all, we can't look, we don't have the hindsight of 2020 at this point. And you just need to decide what your risk factor is. Would you rather err on the side of Darwinian science, in which your family is left open to the possibilities and the potential health risks because of being exposed to COVID and experiencing COVID? Or will you err on the side of public health science, which says, I don't want to have coronavirus or know what those potential outcome might be for my future health? Either way, there are risks. And either way, if you keep those decisions out of the public, meaning if you're not circulating in public, giving everybody COVID, which is the polite thing to do, you just need to decide whether or not the vaccine is for you. How high risk is your family? Who do your children have access to? My personal opinion is, if I had 12-year-olds right now, I would probably get them vaccinated just because they are in school, which is like a petri dish.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why I'm vaccinating my children. I appreciate all three of your opinions about that. I want to stay on the topic of vaccinations when we come back, just to ask you about this restaurant in Salt Lake City that is now requiring that you show your vaccination card if you want to eat indoors in the restaurant. You can eat outside, but if you want to be seated inside in the restaurant, you have to show that you've gotten both of your vaccinations, that it's been 2 weeks since your vaccination. How do you feel about that? I want to check in with my wonderful guests on A Woman's View. That's just ahead here on KSL News Radio. Don't go away.